Hello guys, it's Anders. So today I wanted to help you out with a little something I was inspired by. I saw a YouTube video recently from the guys at Linus Tech Tips, and they had all kinds of audio trouble. Despite the fact these guys are using the Red 8K cameras and all of that, there were loads of pops, clicks, fuzzy noise in the audio, which just isn't really acceptable when it's something that's really easy to fix. My thinking is perhaps people just don't know that these things are relatively easily fixable, and they don't cost a fortune to fix either. So what I've done here is put together a piece of audio that I've purposely got some background humming and some noise of like the hard drives kicking up and things in the background. And then I've got two different sets of plugins here that I've used to fix it and address that issue and clean the audio up really quickly and with like minimal input and no cutting or editing, as you can see directly here on the screen. So if we have a listen to the piece of audio, you can see quite obviously the first part of the waveform where it's got the hum that continues throughout and dips off at the end, and then there's some like hard drive clicks and pops going on. So let's have a listen. It is an okay piece of audio, but it can be a lot better, as you will see. Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded with a lot of noise and bits in the background. Okay, so the first thing I've done is use the Waves Restoration Bundle. Now that's on offer quite a lot. It's like $99 at the moment. And it comes with 4 plugins. It comes with XClick, XHum, XNoise, and Z-Noise. Now I've used the 2 that I'm putting over on the right hand side of the screen, and I haven't had to use the others in this. So XClick is designed to grab those really quick clicks and things that might occur in audio. It just grabs those out. It's like an extremely fast, precise compressor. It's the best way to look at it. It just dips those out very, very quickly. Haven't needed it in here, but it comes as part of the bundle. And Z-Noise, what Z-Noise does is apply a profile to the audio that's going through it. So you can then sort of invert that noise profile and take it back out. We haven't used it in this case because removing the hum and using the XNoise has worked better for it. But there are 2 other plugins that come in there and allow you to fix those issues as well. So what we've done here is we've taken XHum and we've worked out where the hum is roughly. It's going to be about the 60 Hertz hum, and it also takes out the harmonics of that as well, and you can dip them by the maximum amount here, which is what we've done. So if we just introduce that, you can hear a profound difference straight away. Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded. Just to remind you how it did sound. Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio. Okay, so here's an example of... Cool, so that's fixed pretty much straight away. What it leaves then is lots of sort of after noise, if you will. You've got the noise of the hard drives and that, and in the background you can still hear that going on. Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded with a... This is where XNoise comes in, and we've had to adjust the profile slightly here. So the threshold is meeting at a point where my voice dips in and out and that noise becomes apparent and audible. And then we've had to do reduction almost right the way to the top there to reduce it out, but listen to the result. Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded with a lot of noise and bits in the background. So it goes from this. Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded with a lot of noise and bits in the background. Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded with a lot of noise and bits in the background. And that's relatively simple. Now it's adding sort of like a tinny effect. It's not a pure, clean, pure vocal, but we're working with crap here. We're polishing the turd. When we're in that situation, this is 2 ways we can resolve that. Now the other thing you can use is RX by Isotope. Now RX have their own like external, if you will, plugin, standalone, so you can bring the audio into that and fix it. But they also have plugins, so you can drop them in things like Final Cut, and like we're working in Logic here. And we've got the plugin set here. They look a little bit different. I think they're generally more expensive. I don't really recall. but I find these to be better because I'm lazy and they're easier to use. So we've got declick, that works in pretty much the same way. Declip works in a similar way to declick, but it's looking for clipping, so parts of the audio that have exceeded 0, it just tries to dampen that up and make it less horrible sounding. But the important two we've used here are dehum. Now, the reason I like dehum was I didn't have to figure out what that hum was. I let this do it for me. I'll just show you the way that I did that real quick. Let's mute you so we just hear it with that introduced.
Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded.
And off.
Okay.
Cool, so it's nailing that pretty damn well. What I did though to find it, because by default it doesn't actually grasp it, so if we reset it, you see it's right the way down here. If you put it onto adaptive, it will figure out where that hum is, and you'll just be able to see it move and then snap back to the right area, and then you can switch it back to manual and it's generally caught it for you.
Here's an example of a piece of audio recorded with a lot of noise and bits in the background.
So we have to have it turned on.
Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded.
Now if we put it back onto manual, you'll see that it's snapped to those frequency areas and it's found the right area for that hum.
Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded.
Perfect. Now the other one we've used here is specifically for dialogue denoise. Again, it's a denoising plugin and it's aimed at dialogue. It's got similar controls to the denoise we've used with waves. However, I find this one a little bit better. And you should be able to see what I mean right here with how we have it set up.
Okay, so here's an example of a piece of audio recorded with a lot of noise and bits in the background.
And it just seems to grab a better profile than the waves denoise, and it's a bit more responsive in what it's doing, and it doesn't give as much of that tinny comb filtering effect. But guys, there you go. If you're recording audio in not ideal circumstances or doing like podcasts and that sort of thing, you have to record hotel rooms, just not in great situations, it's well worth investing in these because you can fix those audio hiccups. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope the video was helpful. If it was, please bash a like on the video and I hope you subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you here again.